Russia has once again woken up to explosions. One of the largest oil refineries is on fire. Russians have panicked and rushed to fill their canisters to the max so they wouldn't have to fight in kilometer-long queues for a liter of gasoline again. More on all of this in the following TSN.ua report. On the night of August 6, drones attacked Russia's Yaroslavl region. According to local residents and OSINT analysts, the Slavneft Yanos oil refinery, one of the largest in Russia, was hit. Eyewitnesses filmed thick black smoke over the facility's territory. Russian authorities claimed that this was the largest drone attack on the region, yet they once again reported that all drones were allegedly shot down. However, the footage of black smoke, which Russians themselves are filming and posting, suggests otherwise. Slavneft Yanos is among the 5 largest oil refineries in Russia. The facility is capable of processing about 15 million tons of oil per year. That is precisely why such facilities are of strategic importance. This is not the first time the Yaroslavl refinery has been attacked. Ukrainian drones arrived there as if it were their own home. According to open source data, this is at least the 6th attack on the facility. The last time the Yaroslavl refinery was attacked was exactly a month ago, on the night of July 6th. Back then, a fire also broke out on the facility's premises, and later the General Staff of Ukraine confirmed the strike on one of Russia's largest oil refineries.
Good morning, everyone. This is the refinery. Many of you have probably heard the reports about what was happening here with us from last night and continuing right through until this morning. And this situation, all of this, everything we are facing today, what we will encounter tomorrow, and indeed throughout the coming days, will be the very air we breathe, not to mention the host of other complex issues that we are also working to address.
While ordinary Russians are thinking about what will happen next to their pseudo-empire, their propagandists have finally dropped their masks.
The strikes as of today, the strikes are strikes on Kyiv. This is more, to a greater extent, a media component rather than a military one. As for really serious targets, in Kyiv itself, if I don't count critical civilian infrastructure objects, like, say, the Kyiv HPP, for example, I think there are none there. In my view, everything happening today fits into the logic of who will outlast whom in terms of the burden currently being placed on the civilian populations of the states.
Meanwhile, the commander of the Unmanned Systems Forces, Robert Brovdi, known to everyone as Magyar, reports on a large-scale blackout for the occupiers in the south. In just the last 2 days, the Unmanned Systems Forces have created a real dark kingdom in the occupied territories, disabling 13 key energy hubs at once. The total count of this operation, which has been ongoing since the beginning of July, has already exceeded 200. 201 destroyed or damaged energy facilities. This means paralyzed equipment transfers, de-energized military bases, and complete chaos in the invaders' rear. A whole constellation of units is at work, the famous Magyar's birds, Rarog, Nemesis, K2, and others. While the occupiers try to patch the holes, Ukrainian drones methodically prove every strategic enemy object on our land is just a temporary target. Let us recall that on the night of August 5th, it was truly hot in the Tula region of Russia. One of the largest Wildberries logistics hubs in Alexin was attacked. This is a huge distribution warehouse with an area of nearly 200,000 square meters, which was opened just 2 years ago as a key logistics center for supplies to the central regions of Russia from Kursk to Ryazan. Now it has completely burned down.
Plastic. It stinks for the whole area. You can see better from here. Look at this view from here. It's just amazing. So our Wildberries has burned down. Only the third block is left. It started burning.
Meanwhile, Russians are recording videos with calls to protect other warehouses. But the bunker grandpa has pulled all the air defense to Valdai. It won't be possible to protect all of Russia.
God, someone put a net over it, set up an anti-aircraft gun, or at the very least put a Katyusha there. Just give this guy some kind of chance at survival. What is going on?
You know, for some reason, I felt optimistic inside, and I thought that they wouldn't hit Wildberry's warehouse because so many have already been hit, and maybe they would protect it in our region. This morning I woke up, and this is the view from my room.
Good morning, everyone. So the time is 4:25 a.m. Heading off to work at Wildberries. The chickens are leaving. Everyone is. High alert mode again. Everyone is driving away from the warehouses. It's dangerous. A drone could have hit somewhere.
August 5th marked exactly 40 days since the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, announced a 40-day influence operation against Russia. Its goal, according to the head of state, was to force the Kremlin to agree to end the war. Although this did not happen, Western experts believe the campaign inflicted tangible losses on Russia. Military expert Carlo Massala noted in a comment to the German publication Bild that it was unlikely to expect concessions from Putin, as the Kremlin remains convinced that it can achieve its goals through military means. At the same time, security expert Nico Lang suggests that Ukrainian strikes could bring about at least a partial ceasefire. According to him, the parties could potentially agree on a mutual cessation of air and sea strikes. This would not yet mean the end of the war, but it could become an important diplomatic result for Ukraine. In turn, Eastern Europe expert Andreas Umland believes that the main effect of the campaign is economic. The massive use of long-range drones, according to his assessment, has proven successful in striking Russian economic infrastructure. Furthermore, he draws attention to the shifts in public sentiment within Russia itself, where, according to him, the polarization between supporters and opponents of continuing the war is becoming increasingly noticeable. At the same time, experts emphasize that the key question now is whether Ukraine will be able to maintain the current pace of long-range operations. It is precisely on this, in their opinion, that it will depend whether this strategy will have a long-term impact on Russia's military and economic potential. Special operations for August have already been approved. Volodymyr Zelensky heard a report from the Security Service of Ukraine regarding countering Russian aggression. According to the president, the SBU already has significant results on the front line and in the enemy's rear, but new challenges lie ahead.
There was a report from the SBU. I have approved new operations for the Security Service of Ukraine. Today, Oleksandr Poklad reported on what has been done in July. We have determined the priorities for August. I am grateful to the SBU for their strong positions. Today, there is already a report from the Ministry of Defense on the destruction of Russians on the front line in July. It is the Alpha unit of the Security Service of Ukraine that is top one in terms of strikes. They have achieved the most. Simply well done. And in total, during this July on the front line, 30,272 Russians were destroyed by all our units, specifically by drones.
The Russian rear is increasingly becoming a field for strikes on oil, logistics, and energy infrastructure. While the Kremlin assures that everything is under control, Russians are counting their losses, losing goods and fuel, and watching as the war reaches deeper and deeper into the country. What do you think? Can such strikes really force the Kremlin to change its strategy? Write your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to tsn.ua so you don't miss the most important news. Take care of yourselves and see you later.